James Moore addressed the Canadian Club earlier today. He joins me now for his first interview in the new portfolio. Welcome to the show. Heritage, you miss the music and the museums, or
never?
No, you like this industry thing?
Just a different hat, some of the same music.
All right, you're going to face the music now from me a little bit because Bell Canada owns this station, and as you know, they're in a bit of a war with you on wireless spectrum concerns. I know yesterday was the deadline for bidders to signal their intentions on the new blocks of spectrum. Maybe you could just tell us what that process is and what it means to consumers.
Sure. Canada has transitioned from analog to digital television. The days of rabbit ears on television are over. Now everything is digital. And so that spectrum that used to be occupied by that now outdated technology is now being put up to auction. It's been divided into blocks. Those blocks now go up to auction. The auction will take place in January. Yesterday was the date by which companies had to ante up to participate in the auction in January. The full list of who will participate in the auction will be released on Monday, and we'll see what materializes in January. So, and within that process, certainly there's been debate about the policy, about how it serves consumers or if it serves industry, how to achieve that balance. And that's been a source of debate over the summer.
Now, the two blocks, the big telecommunications firms can bid: Bell, Rogers, and TELUS, right?
All four.
They can bid on all four.
They can bid, and we'll see what materializes. Of course, we've set aside a block for a new entrant, and as I said, we'll see what happens in the auction.
Any of those new entrants going to be foreign owned, or could they be foreign owned?
They could be. We don't discriminate against foreign investment into the telecom market, and this is a long-standing policy of our government of inviting foreign investment into the Canadian economy, and particularly with regard to telecom, we have, of course, lift the cap on foreign investment into firms that have less than 10% right now of the market, and so foreign entrants into the marketplace are indeed welcome. We don't discriminate in their favor or against them, but we do believe in having competition.
Well, there's competition now, don't you think? I mean, like Bell just lowered roaming rates by 50%, for example, and there seems to be competitive rates.
Coincidentally, a couple days before the spectrum auction, it's of course.
Are you suggesting there's a connection?
No, I think that George Cope, CEO of Bell, and their board are incredibly talented, professional people about whom I frankly have only good things to say in terms of their looking out for the best interests of Bell. We have a different obligation as a government, which is to look out for the best interests of, yes, Canadian companies, but also Canadian consumers, and the balance is our responsibility, and we think we've arrived at that with our policy.
I think the concern was that you're giving foreign companies, or were with Verizon in the mix. It's not in the mix anymore, but when it was in the mix, you're saying you get to bid on spectrum that the other companies can't. That gives them an edge. You still maintain that could happen, though.
Well, as I said, we'll see what happens in the auction. But look, that's fallen on its face, that argument. It was completely, frankly, disingenuous and was not true. If that were true, Verizon would be here, AT&T would be here, other companies would be engaged in the Canadian marketplace. They've chosen not to because it is still a regulated market. And even if Verizon had chosen to come into Canada, for example, and if they had purchased or competed and secured 2 blocks of the 4 of spectrum, and even if they had, by the way, purchased 2 of the smaller players that are currently in the marketplace that are experiencing some trouble, and if they deployed all of that spectrum tomorrow, it would be less than 14% of the market. Today, TELUS, Bell, and Rogers combined have over 90% of the market, and they're doing very well. But we think Canadians benefit from more competition, and in regions of the country, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Atlantic Canada, Quebec, where there is a 4th player competing against the big 3, consumers are benefiting.
So people that are watching this, what will they see at the end of this auction when the new spectrum opens up? Will they have more intense competition, better signals? How will it all shake out?
Well, this is the last answer you want to hear, but we'll see. But the substance of it for consumers actually matters, and that's sort of what gets lost in this debate over the substance of the policy. The great news for Canadian consumers is that 700 megahertz spectrum, what that means is high-quality spectrum that has deep building penetration into parking garages, concrete structures, is coming. And companies are competing very aggressively for the opportunity to hold that spectrum, to hold those digital highways, to provide Canadians with access to them on the mobile devices of their choosing. This is a good thing for consumers. What we want to have is the added benefit of greater competition and choice so that people can choose between different companies offering different services. Consumers win when that happens.
Okay, let's move on because there are other issues on your file. I know that in your business. The Council of Chief Executives came out with an interesting observation the other day. John Manley, former foreign industry or Industry Minister. He said, the absence of a coherent national approach to education and skills development policy puts Canada at a significant disadvantage relative to other leading economies. How do you fix that?
Well, it's a moving target and a different need, certainly within the marketplace. How we partly fix that, of course, is we've appointed Jason Kenney into a new ministerial portfolio to focus on skills and jobs and the creation of jobs and matching skills with the marketplace. We've tried to address it in the past as a government. We have had some real successes. We have the Canada Job Grant, which does exactly in principle what John Manley is describing there, which is to work with the private sector, to match dollars with the private sector and the provinces and say, what jobs do you need? Far be it for us in Ottawa, far removed from the front lines of job creators in this country, what is it that you need in your business that your business can grow in terms of skills and talent? We match provinces, we match them, so we take a $5,000 investment from the Government of Canada, turns it into $15,000, and we invest that into help create jobs in the front line in those businesses where jobs are being created. So we have a new ministry, we have a new minister, we have a new focus, we have some new policy proposals, and of course we'll work with John Manley and others in the business community to get it right.
I'm out of time, but quickly, you've got an automotive announcement tomorrow. What is it? Cough it up right now, James.
The auto industry, from the dearth of the recession through to where we are today, has had a great rebound. I'll be in Oakville with Premier Wynne, Lisa Raitt, the Transport Minister, making a good announcement to make sure the momentum keeps going. It's a great news story, certainly in Oakville and elsewhere.
Industry Minister James Moore, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks, John.